What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. I'm your host, Mike, and today's video is going to be on must add and drop players for week 15 of fantasy hockey. We are more than halfway done the season now, and fantasy playoffs are coming up soon, so you're going to want to stay tuned to this video and watch the players to add and drop for this upcoming week. Before we get into this video, guys, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We will be releasing a playoff resource for you guys, or the schedule, to see who the best adds and drops are for the playoff time. This will be all available in our Discord. Just click the link in the description below and join our Discord. If you have any problems, just leave a comment below and let me know. Without further ado, let's jump into the Week 15 must add and drop players video. Jumping right into things with the must add players, we have Erik Gustafsson of the Washington Capitals. A little late on Gustafsson. I was a little burnt out. Couldn't post any videos. Just wasn't feeling it at all. But now we're back in the swing of things. Erik Gustafsson at just 61% owned over on Yahoo. He is on the Washington Capitals. John Carlson, their number one defenseman, power play one quarterback, is out for the foreseeable future. He's on long-term IR right now. If you own him in fantasy, like I do in a couple of my leagues, stash him on your IR, pick up Gustafsson. He's playing 20 plus minutes per night. He's on that top power play unit. He's actually had some good offensive seasons in the past, a 50 plus point season with Chicago a couple years ago. He does have offensive upside. You're not going to get a whole lot from the peripheral side, but playing big minutes in a big role, line one, power play one, this team has been on a roll recently. I like what I'm seeing out of the Washington Capitals. I like what I'm seeing out of Gustafsson. If you're in those 8 to 10 team leagues, I definitely think he's worth rostering, especially if power play points are worth a lot. Moving on next, Phoenix Copley. He has to be one of the biggest anomalies this season. Former Washington Capitals third string goaltender. He is now taken over the role as a number one goalie over in LA. Cal Peterson got waived. Not really a big fantasy relevant goaltender. I remember talking about him in the draft video, in my drop video a couple weeks ago. And I said, why is this guy even owned in fantasy right now? But Phoenix Copley has taken over the number one spot on an LA team that has been very good recently. Top 10 in offensive analytics over their last 15 games. They've been defending well, although their penalty kill has not been very good. But anyways, this LA team, guys, they've been very good. Phoenix Copley is definitely worth rostering. He seems to be getting majority of the starts. Move over Jonathan Quick. I don't know how long this is going to last until Copley comes back down to life, but I do like him for the short term. Moving on, Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks in 12-team leagues. He looks like a great add with center and left wing eligibility. Now, I don't like to roster players from bad teams, but the upside on players on bad teams is that they're going to get a lot of opportunity, and that's what we're seeing with McTavish here. He's getting power play time. His minutes have been increasing significantly recently. 6 points in 7 games in January and playing over 18 minutes. Back in December, he was averaging about 15 minutes, and that looked good. And back in November, he was averaging about 13 minutes. So his minutes are up, +5 in the last 2 months. He's getting a ton of opportunity. This Ducks team, obviously, we know they don't look good. They're going to try and get Connor Bedard. But for the short term right now, Mason McTavish, decent hit volume, decent shot volume, and he's getting opportunity in a top 6 role and a power play 1 role. Moving on, Philip Hedl for more of my deep league guys now. Center and right wing eligible. He's playing third line center right now. So, I mean, not really good to roster third line players, but he's getting the easier matchups. He's playing power play too. He does have some decent upside as a former high draft pick, and his shot volume has been great. He is currently top 15 in shots per 60 over the last 15 games. I like what I'm seeing out of Hedl. He's starting to score a little bit more, 6 points in 8 games now in January. You know, the upside's there. The matchups are going to be there. Chris Kreider just went down with injury. Looks like Lafreniere moved up to the top line for now, but Hedl, he's playing 14 plus minutes per night in those deep leagues. He's definitely worth a roster. Mikael Backlund, someone I recommend. I feel like I recommend him like 3 times a year, but former DraftKings legend here, Mikael Backlund. I used to love him when I was able to play DFS. Center, 15% owned. He is also playing third line, but Calgary likes to play their depth players quite a bit. Backlund gets some good penalty kill minutes. He also gets some power play 2 minutes, 17 plus minutes per night. Very, very good shot volume. He's been getting really unlucky this season with a very low shooting percentage. I can see this turning around at some point, but he's had a lot of games where he's had 4 plus shots per night. I own him in a couple of my leagues right now, especially my big league where a lot of the Sharps are in there and they're picking up players consistently. Love Backlund, love his upside. Lastly, Ty Smith, definitely for my deep league players. I would say 14 plus team leagues, 5% owned over on Yahoo. Letang's out, again, similar to John Carlson. Foreseeable future. We don't know when his return will be. Jeff Petrie also out. Someone needs to step up here on this struggling Penguins team, and it looks to be Ty Smith right now, who was traded in that John Marino trade, and Marino has been excellent for the Devils, although hurt right now, he's been excellent for them. Ty Smith getting the power play 1 quarterback minutes, playing 20 plus minutes per night. Last 2 games, he's played over 23 minutes. He's getting very solid peripherals. I like what I'm seeing here. This Penguins power play honestly has not been very good this season, but still at 5% ownership, you're still getting a guy on power play 1, playing good minutes, playing top 4 pair minutes. Eric Gustafsson was at 5% owned about 2 weeks ago, and now look, he's up at 60%. Don't think Ty Smith will get there because of how bad this Penguins power play has been, but I still love the upside there, so I would be looking at Ty Smith in those 14-plus team leagues. I wonder if you guys can hear that I don't really have a voice right now, but moving on to the must-drop players. Starting off with Cam Fowler of the Anaheim Ducks, just not good this season at all. He's playing good minutes, but they are completely empty minutes. He's barely at a shot per game. He's barely at a block per game, and he's just not playing the body at all. He's not getting any power play 1 minutes anymore. Just not a lot going on here from this Anaheim Ducks team. I mentioned that I typically don't like players that are on bad teams. Cam Fowler definitely fits the case here on the Anaheim Ducks, who have just been atrocious this season. He's getting lit up, not a lot of time in the offensive zone. He's playing good minutes, empty minutes. Nothing I like to see here from Cam Fowler. I would be looking to drop him, especially in those deeper leagues. If you're trying to roster defenseman, I think you can just pick out someone like Jake Wallman at 1% ownership, who's getting first pair of minutes. He's getting shots on net. He's getting offensive looks. Cam Fowler, just nothing there. Jacob Slavin, another defenseman who I actually like in real life, and he's a very good real life defenseman. If leagues counted takeaways, he would definitely be there. Plus minus, actually not as good as I thought it would be this season, given he's had some 40 plus minus seasons, but 26% owned on Yahoo. I looked in a couple of my 12-team leagues. He is owned by some of the teams. He's just not doing it for me offensively this season. 15 points in 43 games, coming off a 40-point season, which is very, very good for a defenseman who actually has solid peripherals. But again, not having that this year. Slavin's just under 2 shots per game. He's below 2 blocks per game. He's not getting any hits. Now, this could be the case of just Brent Burns stepping in here, power play 1 role, taking some of the offensive looks from Slavin as Slavin begins to play a more defensive role, which is where his strengths are. So I'm looking to drop Slavin. 12-team leagues, definitely not rosterable. In the 14-team leagues, I think you are able to roster him if you're desperate for defensemen, given how thin they are this season. Andrew Copp of the Detroit Red Wings, my Red Wings fans, like I have a couple friends that are Red Wings fans, and they were super hyped about Copp. I thought he was going to be a good player this season. Not scoring any goals right now. He has just 3 goals this season, 20 assists, 23 points this season, not shooting the puck at all. And how are you going to score goals when you're not shooting the puck? He's under 1 shot per game in January, and he's just over 1.5 shots per game in December. So not a lot to love there from Andrew Copp. His eligibility is great. Center left wing. He does win some good faceoffs. He doesn't hit very much. There's just not a lot going on here from this Red Wings team. Not a lot going on here from Andrew Copp. Moving on. Rasmus Sandin. I feel like Don Cherry when I'm saying moving on. Rasmus Sandin of the Toronto Maple Leafs with Morgan Riley back. This decor starting to get healthy. TJ Brody's back. Sandin honestly was a very good ad when Riley was out. He was getting power play minutes. He was playing the body more than I would have ever thought. But now with Riley back, he's stealing those good minutes from Sandin. 16% rostered. Some of my biased Leafs fans are likely still holding him, but there's nothing to like here from Sandin. He doesn't have very good peripherals. He's not going to get more offensive looks when he's playing on the 3rd pair or 2nd pair and power play 2. So I'm looking to drop Sandin here. And another young rookie or a young player in the league that just hasn't been getting it done for me here. Alexis Lafreniere. I'm so sorry for my Rangers fans. I can't believe this guy was a bust. He was so promising in World Juniors, very good in the QMJHL. He was drafted the year when players were actually able to be scouted and didn't miss time. But Lafreniere's just had a very, very bad season, a very poor start to his career. I don't know what's going to happen. I was just looking at line combinations, and with Kreider out, looks like he did move up to line 1. He is getting power play 1 looks, but 0 shots, 3 shots, and 0 shots in the last 3 games since moving up and playing over 18 minutes per night. When Kreider comes back, Lafreniere is going to move right back down the lineup. He's just not doing it this year. One of the worst shot rates in the league right now. He's not scoring any goals. He hasn't scored a goal in his last 15 games. Huge slump for him. I really hope he finds his game in the NHL. But for right now, fantasy-wise, He does have upside. I know people love that he's a former first overall pick, and that's probably why he's 16% owned, but I'd be looking to drop Lafreniere as soon as possible. There are a lot of very good options on their free agency, like players I just named earlier, that are better than Lafreniere. May not have the name or the upside or the pick, but still, I like them quite a bit more. Lafreniere, he's definitely droppable in all leagues. That'll do it for the Week 15 must add and drop players video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.